I was shaking. I was nodding my head. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Hi, welcome to the Next to Nothing podcast.
Yeah, we're live.
oh, hey.
Hello.
Are there any other soda questions that we want to ask before we get started? Do we want to?
Pepsi is the most overrated soda ever, and nobody can tell me otherwise.
I will fucking fight you.
Question of the week: is Fresca good?
There's only one right answer. There's only one right answer, and it's yes, because Fresca tastes like a non-alcoholic Zima.
Dr. Pepper is still enjoyable while it's flat.
Dr. Pepper is also very enjoyable hot, and I come to find out originally it was supposed to be drank that way. So there we go.
Wasn't that how it was with Dr. Pepper, or not Dr. Pepper, Pepsi and Coke? One was supposed to be hot, one was supposed to be cold.
I think so.
They mimic each other's flavors.
Have you ever put peanuts in Coke?
Yes, all the time. All the time.
So delicious.
It's my favorite.
I don't know how. I don't know why. It just tastes good.
You're welcome for these nutritious facts at the beginning of the next to Nothing podcast this week.
Hello,
and welcome to the information that you need.
Hello and welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, Danny K. With me, as always, the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Green Elite. How you doing, Green?
I'm doing fantastic, Danny. How are you?
I am fantastic. Guys, work has been a nightmare, but it's only going to last for 7 more days.
7 days.
Hallelujah. Joining us, like 99.9% of the time, our other co-host, the powerful, the beardiful Rev's Fan. How you doing, Rev?
Oh, I'm doing well. I feel like I'm in my element finally. Like I feel like I look the part at this point.
Yeah, I suppose you're not Rev's Fan. You are Rev Indy or Jim Indy.
Yeah, Jim Indy.
Is that what we decided?
We got Joe Retro and Jimmy Indy.
Jimmy Indy.
Jimmy Indy. And our guest this week, the one, the only, the Mr. Joe Retro. Joe, for the kind folks out there who have not met you yet, who are you, what do you do, and where can people find you?
I think pretty much everyone's met me at this point. But I'm Joe, Jimmy Indy's long lost cousin that we're just bringing on to the podcast tonight. You can typically find me just at /Joe Retro, playing a variety of games, having fun, trying to just interact with you guys. I'm terrible at intros.
You did great.
So
the handsome Weasley, yeah, there we go.
The handsome Weasley.
The handsome Weasley. You are a good-looking man. If people want to see your face, how about all the social medias that people can see your face at?
Oh, those are dead.
Damn.
No, I mean, it's all basically the same name, just Joe Retro across Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
Excellent. I
need to start doing Instagram again. I need to actually start taking pictures again.
If you're into actually using TikTok, brief little side note, upload those same videos to Instagram Reels. That way it kind of gets you some traction on Instagram as well. There's your pro tip, lazy content for the week.
Hot tips with Jimmy Indy.
Hot tips with Jimmy Indy, aka ripped off from Gary V.
So, real quick, before the show starts, I just want to say, guys, we really appreciate you for joining us this week. We hope that you guys get all the value and entertainment out of this show that you expect from us. If you miss any part of the show, you guys can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. We do have a question of the week this week being... what are some suggestions for games this Halloween that you would suggest to your friends and family? We will talk about this very thing at the end of the show, but make sure you guys put your suggestions in the chat right now or in the YouTube comments if you're watching on YouTube. And those comments really do help us out, so make sure you guys do comment. Can
I say you really missed an opportunity for saying what games can make your Halloween a little Halloweener?
I did miss an opportunity. You're right. Straight missed it.
Bummer.
Fuck, man. I gotta reevaluate my life now.
The whole thing.
I'm gonna do that while you tell us about Dropsy.
Dropsy. Let's do that. I like that game. I actually enjoyed it. It was very confusing at first. So Dropsy is a game. It's an indie point and click adventure. Who would have guessed that Jimmy Indy was going to talk about a Jimmy indie title. No, so now Dropsy was actually it was a lot of fun. It was a point and click type adventure about a clown.
Real quick, Rev, I just have to interrupt you to just point out the fact that our guest is broken.
Wait, what broke you, Joe?
he's just straight broken over there.
Don't make me tell Aunt Gloria about this.
The little Halloweener thing just made me imagine opening like a can of Viennas and they're just like ooh, at me and stuff and wiggling. Shit.
This is why I love Joe. He's so off the cuff. But all right, so
back to baby business.
All right, so Dropsy it's an indie point and click adventure. Relatively short playthrough, actually. I think I got it through it in about 5 hours. There were some things that I didn't complete, side missions and stuff, and I did use a walkthrough because I was like on a deadline of getting through a certain amount of games before a certain day. But it was a really, really neat adventure about a clown named Dropsy, and there's like a huge twist at the end that I'm not going to spoil, but essentially you're going around town, around the city, trying to make some things better because your dad got sick and you're doing favors for people to try to get the medicine for your dad. He was the dummy thickest of clowns. But there was like it opened with like a tragedy that the circus burned down, and so he kind of already had this negative connotation about him because people automatically assumed it was him that did it, because he was he was very simple. But you go around town doing little tasks for people to try to build your way up to actually the crescendo of a story that kind of goes 0 to 100 real quick. You have a little companion dog, and it's a very, very chill. Oh, and the soundtrack. Oh, the soundtrack was so good. It was so chill. Like imagine like one of those like HBO dramas in the 90s and how the music would sound in that, and you're going to get that in Dropsy. It was so good. But yeah, it was, simple point and click, good story, nothing too difficult. A lot of little side quests you could do for different people and stuff, but all in all, very, very good game. If I had to just give it like a star rating, I'd say probably like a good 7 out of 10.
On.
Very
Excellent.
quick on that one. It's one of those games that like there's not a whole lot of like a whole lot of depth to get into. It's a pretty simple deal. It was one of those kind of like odd games published by Devolver. Devolver actually published this game.
Mm-hmm.
It was developed by Tender Shoot and A Jolly Corpse, and it goes for $10 on Steam right now. It is currently not on sale, but the system requirements, literally Windows 7 or later, a gig of space in your storage and a gig of RAM, and that's like all on Windows what the system requirements are. Super, super easy to run game. Like, I don't know. I don't think that it's mobile, but it feels like this could be an easy mobile game. I don't know how. Like, I don't think Devolver really delves that much into to mobile titles, but I think this would be a perfect one for like a little mobile, just chill playthrough kind of game. Like if they could put Little Misfortune on mobile, Dropsy should definitely be on there.
Yeah. So real quick, you mentioned that it retails for about $10, $9.99 American on Steam. According to Steam DB, the lowest recorded price is $2.49, a 75% discount, and that was on the 23rd of November 2016. So you mentioned it's a point and click.
Yeah. Yeah.
How Moon Logic does it get? Because point and clicks are kind of notorious for their how the fuck did I know that the honey roasted ham was going to help me unlock the door kind of shit.
It does kind of get that way because like there were like towards the end of the game. By the way, real quick interjection. Dropsy is actually available at least on Android. I don't know if it's on iOS, but it is on Android for only $4. But there you get it. Like the first item you get in the game is a tomato from the garden right outside your tent before you ever even go into the city, and you end up using that tomato damn near at the end of the game. But you do have to pick up some other stuff along the way. It's essentially you make a soup to get into a gate, because there's this like one weird creepy methed out dude guarding a gate with his finger in his butt, and you give him the ingredients. He makes the soup for the king of the junkyard. I know, wild, but
clearly a wizard.
Yes, clearly. But that is one thing you do have to be careful of, though. You do have to collect stuff because there are things that you would like see and you're like, oh, I don't know what I would use this for. Or I don't even remember seeing something like that, and I needed that. So like the gameplay area is not massive, so it's easy to get from like, you know, the far northeast end of the map to the far southwest of the map, like relatively quick. So it's not that big of a deal, but it can become a hassle if you're having to double back and check every single building, because you actually do have to switch roles, like from Dropsy to your little mouse character. If you need to get into a tight space, you can control the mouse and go into a tight space, or if something's up in a tree, you end up getting a bird at one point, you can use the bird to go up there, dig stuff up with your dog. So there are like different mechanics to the game itself and how you actually have to go about playing it. But it is like, there are things that you'll come across and you won't realize you're going to need them, because they're not just like given to you by somebody. You find them, and it is important to pick up anything that you find for that very reason, because you get to those points where you're like, wow, I didn't know I was going to be able to get in this door without a tomato, some garlic, and a skeleton, or like a skeleton arm, because, you know, they wanted bone broth in their soup, and, you know, cannibalism and all. But
Makes
it was
sense.
yeah, oh yeah, perfect sense. It was so yeah, you definitely have to do that. You definitely have to be on point with that.
Yeah, well, you know, related to a thing, just a fun cooking fact: Grandma makes the best bone broth, guys. So it does kind of it does follow that same kind of tradition of the point and clicks with like Moon Logic and shit like that. Obviously, I mean, you can see the aesthetics on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of this grungy, acid washed kind of look. Is that pretty consistent all the way through? It looks like it is.
Yeah, it stays that way. And it fits the aesthetic of the, like, it fits kind of like the mood of the game. The one thing that I did have an issue with, and this is just because I'm an idiot, is that there's no given direction on how to do everything. Like, whenever you're talking to somebody, it's done in like image text bubble type things. So you're having to like sit there and look at it and be like, okay, I got to put 2 and 2 together here. And with that kind of like Moon Logic, sometimes that can be difficult. So that, yeah, it was like, your goal is to like hug everybody, because you're just, I mean, you're a clown that really wants to just to be loved, but it can get a little odd. But yeah, the aesthetic kind of stays that same tone the whole way through, and I think that's why it doesn't require a whole lot to run it.
Yeah. Does it get pretty trippy? It looks like this would be a game that would like start putting you like in like really trippy cutscenes and stuff like that.
I mean, sometimes, yeah, there are some points of it that get really trippy, especially towards the end. Like, I mean, it's one of those games that like nothing really seems too out of the ordinary at first, but then it just goes like 0 to 100 real quick at the end, and it does get pretty wild.
Gotcha. Joe Green, any thoughts, questions you wanted to ask about Dropsy?
Did he just pull something out of his pants?
Oh yeah, your entire inventory is kept in your pants. So like, whenever you go to the playground, you know, there's this little girl who's crying about a flower that wilted and died. This is like at the very beginning of the game, and you go and find a flower that's just like it, and you keep that flower in your pants. It's like everything, your entire inventory stays in your pants. And there are points where you'll go to reach in your pants for something, and you'll realize, oh crap, I don't need something out of my pants. So you'll back out of the menu, or you'll switch characters or something, and Dropsy's just sitting there with his hand in his pants. It's kind of funny, but it's the whole inventory stays right there in your pants.
All right.
Sounds like me on a regular day. Just
average Tuesdays, man.
Do you know if it's hand drawn?
No, I think it's all done pixel art style. I think the last actual hand drawn game I played was probably West of Loathing. That was probably the last one.
Loathing is so fun.
It's a good one. But yeah, no, this one was all done kind of like in I think it was done in Unity with just like pixel art.
That's so watching the initial video that was up, that was showing the walk along and the happiness balance and all that stuff. That was still some really impressive animation they had going for the movements. Yeah, the bounce and the jiggles, and
yeah, for having the pixelated art style, the animation is surprisingly smooth.
Yeah,
so that's actually a good point. Good. Like they do really fluid animations with like the pixel art. It's like a good combination. It's actually good that you brought that up, because it is kind of a really cool part of the aesthetic of the whole thing.
And you weren't lying about the thick.
Yeah, I was watching it, and I watched like when you were playing. That was one thing that I did notice. I'm like, wow, this is pixel art, but it's like very dynamic animation.
Yeah, like so much, like especially with Dropsy himself, like he bounces and moves a lot, and so you see it a lot more with him than you do, like say the other characters in the game. A lot of the other ones, like if you see just like the little NPCs like sitting on stoops or something, they kind of move. You'll see a little bit more of kind of like that bouncy pixel look, but Dropsy is like completely fluid, and I think that may actually kind of play into the big twist at the end. But yeah, it's surprisingly well done. I can understand why it's kind of got that cult following because it came out, I think, like back in like 2015 or something like that. Like it came out around the same time as Fran Bow, and and it's a game I've heard from several different people, and I'm like, you know how I do. I go and sneak out and find all these like obscure indie games that have these cult followings that people love, and like playing it, I understand. I definitely understand it.
Yeah, it was released according to Steam September 10th, 2015.
Okay. Yeah. So that, I mean, heck, that's a 5-year-old game. I mean, it's the same, like Undertale was that old, Fran Bow's that old. Like all these games I've been really hyped about lately have been around the 2015 era.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm actually going to take a look and see the last time it was on sale.
I think you said it was like back in 20. Well, no. Never mind.
That was
when
the
that
lowest
recorded.
Yeah, lowest recorded.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see if SteamDB has a last on sale. But Green, thoughts, opinions, questions?
No, I got mine out of the way with the pants thing. That's all I needed to know.
I will say the one of the developers, the Jolly Corpse, actually self-published another game that I've been kind of wanting to try. It's called Wive and Keep, the Temple of the Lost Idol. But it seems like one of those games I would probably play like off stream because it seems like it's almost got like a Bomberman teamwork kind of aesthetic to it. Looks really interesting, but it actually came out before, so it's even older. But they're I like their work. I like a Jolly Corpse's work.
I do have another question for the game. Are you moving with your arrow keys and clicking around to look, or is it click here to move, click up here to look?
Yeah, it's all click. Yeah, like
all click.
It was kind of like two of the games I covered recently were Frambo and Little Misfortune. Like Little Misfortune did that where it's like you use the A and D key to move back and forth, but but on Frambo everything was point and click, and which I mean is what it is. You know, they one thing I will also say, you know, talking about their soundtrack and how much I actually really enjoyed the soundtrack. For $19.99, you can get what's called the Warm Damp Hug edition, which is like the best name for anything ever, in my opinion. But you do get the soundtrack for the whole thing, and you actually get like a whole like digital kind of like walkthrough guide and art book and stuff like that. I'd contemplated picking that one up, but I hate buying like special editions of games if I don't, you know, like if I don't already play or know of the game, because it's like, you know, I don't want to run the risk of paying extra for something and then not liking it, even though I tend to have this like ability to just fall in love with almost any game if I try hard enough.
Yeah.
I get how you feel. I have a game coming up that's that is going to be one of the only games that I'll actually pre-dump the money on to get the higher edition on. So I get that.
Is that a game that we're going to talk about later in the show? Are we going to delay the talk on that game?
No.
Oh, damn.
I mean, I can. It's just not at all Halloween related.
So the last time this went on sale, it looks like it goes on sale kind of regularly. The last time it was on sale was September 21st, 2020, and it was for that same price of $249.
Oh wow!
So it does go on sale. Looking at it, it does go on sale pretty often.
Motherfucker, I paid full price for that.
Yeah. So, yeah, if it looks like something that you might be interested in, so with that in mind, is this a game you would recommend people buy at full price? Is this one that, if you don't like these kind of games, then maybe wait for it to go on sale? Or typically like these kind of games, or is this one that you'd recommend, hey, go full price for it?
You know, if it goes on sale regularly, I'd say, yeah, give it some time, wait on it, and let it go on sale. Like even if you don't wait for it to get all the way down to like the $2 and some change, yeah, I'd say give it time, let it go on sale.
Yeah, and I will say, just looking at the Steam DB thing, it looks like that 75% discount is usually what it goes on sale for.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, heck, it may go on sale pretty heavily during the Christmas time. because I know Steam usually has sales around Christmas.
Yep.
So I would say keep an eye on it, because it's like I said, if nothing else, the soundtrack, just like while you're playing, it's got such a mellow, beautiful soundtrack to it.
Excellent. Anything else on Dropsy that we wanted to talk about?
No, that pretty much covers it from my end.
All right. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've got an interest in it now, so I think I'm gonna have to give that a try.
Next on Joe Retro Stream, Dropsy. All right. So we're gonna go into some news here, and let's talk about another game streaming service. Yay! Woo!
And the crowd goes melancholy.
And the crowd is jaded. So another game streaming service, this time from Facebook Gaming. Woo. It's going to be available through your web browser and through an app. It's not a new service, by the way. It's just an extension of the already existing Facebook Gaming services. There's an important distinction there. Jason Rubin, the VP of Play at Facebook, said in a statement on their blog the following. Going to speak openly from the outset. Cloud gaming announcements are prone to hype. I'm already kind of liking this. They know exactly who they're probably talking to right now. We're not going to be an overpromised and underdelivered, or we're not going to overpromise and underdeliver. We believe in the long term. We believe in the long-term future of cloud gaming, but we aren't going to try to wow you with the wonders of our data centers, compression, algorithms, resolutions, or frames per second. Green, you know what I hear?
What, sir?
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
100% shots fired.
Yeah, straight shots fired there. We're not going to replace your favorite gaming hardware. We love console and PC gaming, and both formats will be around for a long time. We believe cloud gaming will increase, not replace, the options to jump into great games. So that's another quote. What were you going to say there, Joe?
I actually don't remember now. Or I could wait.
Okay. And I'm just taking this right from their announcement blog for this. So these are direct quotes from their announcement. We're going to start with what we do best and expand from there. Cloud gaming is about expanding the different types of games we already offer. So we'll start with the format that people enjoy playing on Facebook. Free-to-play games. That's one of the reasons why we're starting with games typically played on mobile devices. In the future, our systems and infrastructure will improve to deliver more types of games, possibly all types of games. Until then, rest assured that the cost of trying our cloud games is $0. Rev, do you hear that?
Pew pew.
Pew motherfucking pew.
I can't wait for him to just flat out say, "Oh yeah, and we don't believe that people should have to pay extra to stream games on Twitch."
We're not spinning off a separate cloud gaming service. All cloud streamed games are playable in the same way that you play games now on Facebook, whether it's in our gaming tab or from the newsfeed. No special hardware or controllers needed. Your hands are the controller since we're launching with native mobile games. And you can play these games with a mouse and keyboard on desktop. Here, continuing. We're not launching on iOS for now, unfortunately. We're not launching cloud games on iOS, so only Android and web players will enjoy integrated cloud games on Facebook while we work on alternative options for iOS. Even with Apple's new cloud games policy, we don't know if launching on the App Store is a viable path. They also, in this section, made mention of web browser access, like when we spoke about iOS and Apple only a few weeks ago in terms of like the Google stuff. Let's see. Starting with the beta, here are some of the games that they're including. Asphalt 9 Legends, Mobile Legends Adventure, PGA Tour Golf Shootout, Solitaire, Arthur's Tale, WWE Supercard, and soon to be adding Dirt Bike Unchained.
And every download includes Raid Shadow Legends.
There's no more Farmville, guys. We can't game stream Farmville.
Darn it.
Boo! Unplayable.
Fucking unplayable.
I do want to add a little brief interjection about a video I sent to Green on that Raid Shadow Legends thing that was really funny.
Yeah.
There's this wrestler getting ready to do a suplex, and he yelled for his buddy Ryan. He goes, "Ryan, where are you?" He's like, "What?" He goes, "This suplex is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends." Suplex the guy in the ring. It was beautiful. I wanted to send it to you, but I was like, "Oh yeah, Danny doesn't have TikTok."
Nope, I don't have TikTok.
It was hilarious.
You
So
sent it to me.
yeah, I mean that lineup. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Let's just be straight honest about it.
I will actually say that, believe it or not, WWE Supercard has a pretty solid fan base. Like, I don't play it myself, but like I see people talking about it quite often. Like it's interesting. It's interesting to see how many people are actually into that game.
Yeah.
So that, but all the others, I'm like,
Well, a lot of those
But-
Facebook games, I mean, they do attract solid fan bases because of where they're at. Like, it doesn't, like, they obviously just run in the browser. I mean, they're Facebook gaming really, or like the games on Facebook really started as little more than Flash games. You
Yeah.
know, Farmville and what are the other ones? Like Words with Friends. I mean, they're very little more than just Flash games. And I'm not saying that makes them bad. I'm just saying that they're really easy to run. I don't know about a lot of these games. Like Asphalt 9 Legends, is that a racing game? If that is that like a real ish?
It's Asphalt 9 is a racing game where you basically don't have to do anything except for choose which direction you want to go or drift. You can take over it to like actually physically turn and hold the controls down, but it's just one of those really fast-paced ones of you're pretty much going in a straight line. And it can completely control it for you if you want, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna hit the boost, and you go flying off of a ramp, and you might do some tricks and land. And
okay, but so I'm
It's not
looking at
much.
it. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, it is a 3D game. It's not like it's a 2D Flash game. This is like a 3D. Okay. I mean, I don't know about any of these other ones.
that was going to be my first question with Facebook gaming streaming is what games are they planning to stream?
Yeah. I think the big thing right now for it is, and we'll talk about this later, is probably the connections that it's going to have to Oculus as a service. But we'll talk about Oculus here in a little bit.
I wonder how they'll tie it into their also
Farmville.
in Farmville. Their gaming streaming service as well.
Mhm.
The actual like Facebook entertainment streamers, and so if people big enough on there get free access to their gaming things and they can stream those games for I don't know,
Yeah.
but how that's gonna go basically.
Yeah.
VR Farmville, that'd be cool.
So the one thing that they're really talking about is and why they selected these games in particular is that they're choosing latency friendly games to focus on delivering a good service across a variety of devices. Hey Joe, do you hear that sound? Did you hear those shots fired there?
Something pew, 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 in my neighborhood.
So it's going to be it's currently available in a couple different places: California, Texas, Massachusetts. I knew I was going to do this. Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Maryland, DC, Virginia, and West Virginia. Is
It's all
where...
the important states.
Oh, just because you're on the list means that we're unimportant. So that's where it's currently available. Again, it's a service in its infancy. I don't even know necessarily why anyone would be worried about any of these games in terms of like operating on your machines. I don't know. I like none of these games seem like they're like very intensive. So I guess as a means of really testing latency, that's good. I'm gonna admit, when I first saw that Facebook was coming out with a game streaming service, I'm pretty cynical and a little jaded, by just like the fact that everyone and their fucking mother has a game streaming service. But I like the approach. I think the approach is refreshing. I think this could be a good service if they really work to spec it out. There was one other thing where one other thought I had was connections with Epic Games, because you can already make an Epic Games account with your Facebook account. And so I could see this being, if you have your two accounts linked, maybe being able to access your Epic Games library wherever you can log into Facebook. And I think that would be pretty dope. I think that's a natural connection, integration right there, at least in my mind. What do you think? We'll go to Padre.
Yeah, I don't know. It's obviously kind of outside my niche, but I mean, if they can use if they can use this kind of as like a like a starting phase to end up competing, I think that they could actually, honestly, this is going to be kind of a one of those bold statements, but they could end up driving Google Stadia into the ground if they can keep going on the path they're going. Which I like what they're doing with starting with like these kind of like mobile friendly games. But if they can continue to kind of compete in the cloud gaming industry, I've made it known in the past I'm a fan of NVIDIA GeForce Now when it comes to all the cloud gaming services available at the moment. But Facebook could actually end up being a real contender in it.
Yeah. Green.
I'm in the same boat. I can see, Facebook's like the biggest website on the internet, and they're moving into that gaming territory. So I it was bound to happen. Really, I don't know. Like, I'm neutral on how I feel about it, because it's not something I'd probably ever use. So I mean, I really don't care.
Yeah, it is a really it is like a weird idea, like, because we don't think of Facebook really as a gaming platform anyways. I don't know. There's a little bit of weirdness with this coming from Facebook, but again, I like the approach. Joe, what are your thoughts? Any opinions?
I mean, I'm sitting in the same way, and Jimmy Indy over here had a good point of it tying in with the Epic Games and everything, and all of it tying together along with the later subject is if they approach the waters tentatively, like they're kind of doing, just being open on, look, we're starting with these basic things. We really want to make sure it's right away and not shooting ourselves in the foot. Since they've already got, all this backing behind them, they've already got the games that people delve tons of time into, and they can open it up on more of a streaming thing, right? It could be really good for them. Whether they'll move on to like having actual, Epic Games content stuff through their streaming service, where you link your account to there and you can stream it through Facebook. That's a possibility, but we'll see what the future provides with technology going Zoom and improving that.
Technology go Zoom.
Technology goes Zoom.
Now, I just had a random thought here. Or not, I guess really not random thought, but I just had a thought about this. Is how are they planning on making money out of this? Because they said they're focusing on free-to-play games, and it's already rolled into their gaming brand. Where's the monetization? Do they take a cut?
The ads to, like, they're gonna add you to fucking death, bro.
They'll
And
probably. I think
microtransactions.
they'll do, like, if they're smart, they'll do like the banner ads. Like the ones that are like non-intrusive. But
Well,
I definitely see ads being like 100% their revenue in my
Facebook
in
is
my
cool
opinion.
right now too.
What's
I mean,
that?
I'll sit
Asphalt.
there and- Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say Asphalt 9 already as is. Just when I got my shiny new iPhone a while back, because it's what I could get and what was on sale. I was like, I'm gonna try out Asphalt 9. I've seen all these things about that, and it's one of those like you do 2-3 races, and then you got to watch a 30-second video, and then you do 2-3 races, you have to watch a 30-second video.
But don't the devs take that ad revenue, or is that a Facebook owned thing?
I wouldn't know in this case. I could see like the mention the banner ads that'd be less intrusive and be or both.
I'm sure Facebook gets a cut as well as the devs.
Yeah. Hey, you're using our streaming service, so you got to give us a portion of that money.
Yeah. If I were the dev, I'd be pretty pissed about that though, because it's like if it's an ad revenue and if it's based on CPM, you could be looking at per ad impression maybe 3 cents. And if you have to split that, like a 30% cut, you're taking 2 cents on that ad. You better be hoping. I mean, that would be horrible for most players. But I guess, I mean, it's free to play for a reason. I'm sure that the devs probably already have. Does Asphalt 9 have microtransactions in it? Like, can you pay for like premium currencies and get skins and shit? I'm assuming you can. It's a mobile game.
From what I remember, yeah, to be able to loot boxes basically. And then there's other Facebook games that I used to play a lot. I used to play this one where you like, it was real competitive between me and friends actually on who could get highest scores of this like basically dragon shooter game where you just move left and right and try to survive as long as you can as you go down a path with enemies. And you could drop money on that too to be able to basically do egg loot boxes to get better dragons.
Gotcha.
With little mini dragons to follow you around. So
yeah,
I can see them rolling out more microtransaction stuff.
Yeah, I know in the chat, Elliot argues of the Tessa and Elliot argues Budget Arcade and Adaptations Right podcast. Go check them out. Said yes, you can. To my question there. So I mean that's really about it for Facebook Cloud Gaming. I don't think there's anything else. Any other thoughts that you guys wanted to get out there? Opinions, questions?
I mean, if we're talking opinions, I can say fuck Facebook.
I mean, there's
just
that.
in general, like not because of this or anything, just because it's Facebook.
Every fucking video I watch on Facebook has an ad in it that is non-skippable, and I'm just waiting for them to officially launch like a Facebook Premium.
Oh god,
it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I'm going back to MySpace.
Well, yeah, when it comes to like Facebook ads, I mean, just like I get entranced in some of those stupid 5-minute crafts videos. It's like 30 seconds in. You see this stupid ad for like Dove soap. I'm like, I'm sorry, I wanted to see this fake life hack. Come on.
No, not Dove soap. My name is Teresa Greenfield. I'm in for the Senate, and I had never taken back money. Or I'm Joni Ernst. Or Joni Ernst is taking dark money. Or Ashley Henson. Or Abby Finkenhauer. Like,
this is
Wait,
all
Abby
very...
Finkenhauer is a real thing?
Yeah,
Abby
she's our congresswoman.
Person.
Yeah, Yep, she is Green and I's current congresswoman.
Solid.
God.
Or you get the guy that's standing in his in his garage with a Ferrari and a bunch of books behind him.
Are you making a oh shit, what was his name? Ty Lopez. Making a Ty Lopez joke. Okay, so that's some pretty okay, maybe good news coming from Facebook. Guys, we have some bad news to talk about Facebook. Or do we want to get into that after the break?
Let's fuck these people up before we get calm.
I would say we could like go into the break and like all right. This is important information if you plan on owning an Oculus Rift or already own an Oculus Rift. Deleting your Facebook profile disables your Oculus profile and deletes your purchases, games, and progress. Let me say that again. Anyone who owns an Oculus Rift, deleting your Facebook profile disables your Oculus profile and It deletes your purchases, games, and progress. You spent $20 on a game for your Oculus Rift, and then you delete your Facebook profile. Guess what? You no longer own that game. It's gone. No more. You'll have to make another Facebook profile, another Oculus profile, and repurchase that game.
I hate them so much,
including all your Facebook gaming streaming. I can't talk.
Yeah. So this was discovered by Twitter user at 6liv, CIXLIV. They posted the revelation last week, and it was confirmed later by the trade site Upload VR. Facebook told Upload VR that if you own the original Quest, Rift 1 or 2, and don't plan on getting another Oculus headset, and you don't have your let me rephrase this, and have not linked your Oculus and Facebook accounts, then deleting your Facebook profile will not affect your current purchases. But new Oculus devices will require you to have a Facebook account, and in 2023, Oculus accounts will no longer be supported at all. So it'll only be Facebook accounts. I have a note here that I said was, oh, maybe you should like have 2 Facebook accounts. Apparently, people thought about that and said, hey, I want to have a personal Facebook account and one for Oculus. Guess what? Apparently, those ones that they made for Oculus were not accounts that were in good standing. Yes. I had a note that said, oh, maybe you guys should do that. And then I watched Bellular News's video on the topic today. And apparently that's a thing where it's like those new accounts that they made to make specific Oculus purchases were not in good standing, which usually means like it was like it was a bad account, like account that was banned for TOS violations, right? No, just it was a fresh brand new account. So Andrew Bosworth had not much really helpful to say, in my opinion, when I read his statements. Basically, he's the head of VR and augmented reality at Facebook and said that users should check the account standing before buying a headset. Gee, thanks.
Fuck you, Facebook.
Yeah. I can understand for a couple different reasons why they would the first obvious reason is they just want to be able to collect all your data in one place and be able to link your purchasing habits on the Oculus to your Facebook account. I understand that they have business stuff that they want to do that for.
Advertisements.
Yeah, exactly. They want to be able to sell you advertisements. Oh, he played Skyrim VR on the Oculus? Well, guess what? Now we're going to show him all the Skyrim shit. I can also see this being a part where they would maybe want to streamline some other things that's not related to collecting your data, and possibly a few other convenience things. Stuff like streamlining your payment processes, right? If you already have a credit card connected to your Facebook account for business or personal reasons, being able to make purchases through your Facebook, through that credit card that you already have linked to your Facebook account for Oculus makes sense instead of having to do. But again, that's a minor convenience thing in my opinion. Another thing that I thought about was doing like an automated friends list, right? If you have an Oculus and you have friends who have an Oculus, maybe your friends list on Facebook can become your gaming friends list. Again, minor convenience thing. I don't think it's like a huge deal. It really is just so they can connect your 2 accounts and collect more user data so they can better target ads to you.
And influence elections and shit.
Wow, this voting simulator is so real. I can almost feel the dude in the MAGA hat staring me down.
Oh, he just sniffed the back of my neck. Weird.
Wow, Beatrice at Precinct 3 in Evansdale, Iowa looks so fucking real. Look at all those wrinkles.
That might be the most obscurely specific thing I have ever heard in the history of this show.
Dude,
Do you need to talk about something here today? Is there something you need to get off
Tell
your
me how you
chest
really
here?
feel, buddy.
well, no, it's just the fact that every poll worker I've ever fucking seen is like always over 6 years old, and they're always there wearing, like, I can just picture it right now, like a white crew neck shirt with like a poorly like ink jetted American flag on it.
Oh, you mean voting poll worker? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. I think every poll worker I've ever seen outside of a strip club is the same way.
All their names
Where I
are
was at.
Beatrice.
Yeah. They are poll workers are like always like 60 years old, and that's why I'm like, as much as I would love to just see like poll stuff like electronically done, like computers and stuff, poor fucking Beatrice doesn't know how she can barely get Facebook to run on her fucking laptop. she can barely navigate. She can barely navigate to Facebook on her Windows Vista laptop that she's had since 2005.
She goes to Google to Google to get to
Exactly.
Google.
Exactly. I'm sorry.
She's the one that like asks her Alexa every day, Alexa, do you work for the CIA?
Eventually, that CIA agent's gonna respond though. One day.
Right.
Beatrice,
No.
stop fucking asking. Like, what?
What?
Ma'am, this is the NSA, not the CIA. Get it right.
God damn it.
One
go ahead.
of the reasons I could see for the not in good terms, is that what you're saying before about the Facebook accounts and them losing their purchases?
Yeah.
Is I can see that as an additional possible, along with the gathering all your data and wanting to send ads your way, judging by the game purchases you've made and things like that, or group recommendations also, is the possibly like an additional security buff between like just spam accounts, creating Facebook accounts just to be able to buy these games possibly under someone else's card or someone else's name, and then going into the games, if they're going to be streamed through the Facebook service or just somewhere online and, going out and doing whatever, spending someone else's money, they might see it as more of a security feature that people have to do it with their main account that shows them being active on it, if that makes sense.
No, that does that. I actually didn't think about that. That is a really good point, Joe.
But
Yeah.
also the ads and the data collection and stuff like that.
I mean, on the offhand too, I kind of was thinking like maybe this would be another security issue, because I mean, Facebook accounts can get phished pretty easily.
Oh yeah.
So I could see this being one of those things where someone would just log in and start buying a bunch of shit, because now it could be lucrative enough, or like they could just like hijack your entire account and access, connect an Oculus, a rogue Oculus Rift to your Facebook account and use your Facebook account to make purchases and stuff. I can see that being an issue. Now that there's not like a buffer between it, but
yeah. And that's a really good point. And Zombie Potion has a really good point too, is that was one of the other things I wanted to say, is that if they're going to be linking the Facebook gaming streaming services and the Oculus being tied in, and then who knows where it's going to go from there for gaming, what's the threat on having drawing more attention to your account to get more hacked, and also people being able to possibly pretend to be you based off of your purchases, or even stalk you if with like VR MMOs and stuff like that.
yeah. So it's a real mixed bag.
Yeah.
Someone stealing your account and then like stalking you in VR chat, just like creepy as fuck. Like, hello. Oh my god,
It would
that's a
take
nightmare.
It would take stream sniping to a whole new level.
Oh god, yeah.
Okay, so that's the Oculus Rift and
Space
Facebook.
Odyssey.
Don't delete your Facebook profile picture if you have, or not profile picture. Don't delete your Facebook profile if you have an Oculus right now. And make sure you are following all the terms. Read all of the buttons before you press them, because I imagine there's some poor soul out there who didn't read the fucking text boxes before he hit yes, delete my profile. and then like try to get on his after he connected his Oculus.
Yeah.
6LIV had to find it out some way.
Yeah, he actually showed on his tweet what it said specifically. It says like deleting your Facebook profile will permanently delete your Oculus Rift purchases. It said something along those lines, but yeah, it shows it in the button. So yeah, make sure you guys are reading. Yeah, anything else on this Oculus Rift and Facebook story?
Nope. Fuck Facebook. Say it one more time.
We're just slowly getting closer and closer to full immersion VR.
It's gonna be
dreams of being him in SAO.
What all Oculus is trying to do is corner the market on virtual reality fist fighting, because Facebook is the only place that you like, no matter who it is, you want to fucking fist fight them. And so it's like, oh, keyboard warriors no more. Let's throw down, bitch. You know.
You imagine that you're sitting there, you're typing out a response to someone that's just spewing some shit, and a hologram of them just pops up next to you and just decks you across the face.
Like, what the fuck was that? And then you type out, you hit like a bitch.
Yeah.
All right. I think we should take a quick break. Be back in 2 minutes. And we got a story about EA coming up, and we've also got some Halloween game suggestions. So guys, stay right there.
Wait, this is Halloween.
Hey guys, and thanks for listening to the show. It's October, and just like every year, I'm running another writing contest. If you want a chance to win a $25 Steam gift card, all you have to do is write a scary story and submit it to be read by me and Rev on October 24th. Your submission must be in before the stream starts on the 24th and must be no longer than 7 pages long. The winner will be selected by the live stream audience. For more rules and details, see the link in the episode description or the contest panel on my Twitch channel.
Oh, that's a cavity.
That was the first thing that anyone would have heard coming back from break.
Oh,
I love it.
Sorry.
I unmuted you guys before I unmuted myself, and that's what you said. All right, and we're back. Thank you guys for letting us take that break. We have a story here that is just delightful. Just the fucking best. And that is EA is getting sued in Canada.
Not so polite now, are we, eh?
Canada needs more money.
I am gonna say it is a little sad that we don't have one of our Canadian friends on, because I'm sure we could just really get the real Canadian experience out of this. So EA is finding itself in hot water over the northern border as a class action lawsuit in Canada is alleging that they are operating an illegal gaming system within the country.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Over the
Speaking of
past 8
Canada.
years.
The lawsuit states, quote, gaming is strictly controlled and licensed in this country. In breach of these laws, the defendants have operated an unlicensed illegal gaming system through their loot boxes. Through this suit, Canadian consumers seek to hold the defendant accountable for this unlawful conduct and to recover their losses. Which is which also means that they're like seeking all the money in Canada that was spent on these loot boxes.
Ooh.
The suit lists games spanning all the way back to 2008, including games like FIFA, the entire decade of FIFAs, Madden, once again, the entire decade of Maddens, NHL, Apex, Battlefield, Mass Effect, The Sims Mobile, and like 60, it's like a total of like 60 games. One thing I did notice was, and a lot of other people noticed it, was Star Wars Battlefront 2 was not included on this.
What?
Yeah. Star Wars
They're getting their own lawsuit.
So yeah, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was not included on this lawsuit, which is very, very, very weird because that was the one back in 2015 that like absolutely blew up. I mean,
Yeah.
or was it 2016? It was one of those years where, I mean, that story, I mean, the backlash from that game was massive, absolutely massive. I mean, that game inspired like a Hawaiian congressperson to start like considering writing laws. So yeah, it's notable that that's not there. It's weird. Quote, loot boxes are considered part of the compulsion loop of game design to keep players invested in a game. Such compulsion loops are known to contribute towards video game addiction and are frequently compared to gambling addiction. This is in part due to the use of variable rate reinforcement schedule, similar to how slot machines dole out prizes, and it is especially dangerous for children. The random element also makes players more likely to pay for the chance to win an item from a loot box, the lawsuit states. It also makes allegations of unfair practices, unjust enrichment, and breaches the competition and consumer protection regulations of Canada. But it is focusing on the legal question of, do loot box constitute a form of gambling, which we have had many debates and we have had many debates on that here. Something we've discussed many, many times, like I said. Finally, the plaintiffs are seeking, quote, restitution of the benefits received by the defendants in the full amount of the takings, in the alternative disgorgement of the benefits received by the defendants on the account of wrongdoing.
I actually like that term. That's the term compulsory loop. That's the first time I've heard that as a way to describe like how to kind of equate gambling to loot boxes, and so that's going to have to be added to the vocabulary from now on.
Same here. That's the first time hearing that, and I like the way they put that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, give it to lawyers for coming up with ways to describe shit, right?
Right, and it's like a real, like it's a way to put an actual like not blanket term like gambling. You know, it's like, why is it gambling? It's like, well, because there's a compulsory loop. It's like, oh well, fuck, I don't know how to respond to that because I know big brain. Because I don't like ride chips, so I have no big brain.
Wasn't there a similar lawsuit like this, like a long time ago about Overwatch?
We were discussing it over in the UK. They were talking about litigation on, like regulation on loot boxes over there. And Overwatch was like a prime example that was getting brought up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of countries who are looking at this because as we've discussed before, the basic idea of a loot box is in itself gambling. It is putting a monetary risk for a perceived reward, right?
Slot machine.
Yeah, exactly. Like a
Mhm.
slot machine, or as we've talked about it before, to me, the items in a loot box, while we technically, for a lot of games, you technically can't cash out, which in the United States makes it a big deal where if you can't cash out, is it gambling? But the idea really is that you're putting monetary risk for a perceived reward. And to me, the perceived reward is not much different than a poker chip,
Mhm.
really. A poker chip outside the casino doesn't have any value.
Right.
So,
But you can cash them out. So that's where the confusion was coming in, because
Yeah.
it's like the idea that you can cash out, as opposed to this is something that technically has monetary value. You cannot cash out and trade it in for money. Therefore, it's more of like an item than
Yeah.
it is. And whenever you have a hard time assigning monetary value to something, you can never really get to the point of, is it possible that you're gambling because no matter what, you're getting your money's worth out of it, or is it not gambling because, or is it gambling because you don't know, because there is no cash out system? To play devil's advocate there.
yeah. And I mean, that's a massive legal question I mean, this really is, legally speaking, pretty new territory, right? We didn't have loot boxes 15 years ago. And the ways that we did, they weren't nearly as pervasive and widespread as they are now. And so I fully expected to see these kind of lawsuits, because these are major, serious legal questions that need to be answered in courts and litigated upon. And, possibly legislated. That might be one of those things where we need to take a serious look at our gambling laws. I mean, in countries, just in general, countries and states, depending on, how narrow you want your government to be, need to decide for themselves what constitutes as gambling.
Yeah, that comes down to
legally.
yeah, and that I think should honestly come down to like the constituency, like what do the people see as gambling and as not gambling? Like that shouldn't be defined by somebody who's so fucking out of touch because they're a 70-year-old congressperson, like while a lot of them, being as old school and old valued as they are, might see it as gambling, as do we. It's not guaranteed to be that way. They would look at it as a way to just shut down video games in general. Just like, oh well, video games are bad, shut them down, because for some reason that's been the hot ticket item in politics for fucking 20 years now, since Mortal Kombat was a thing.
They want something to blame that they can control.
And that's what they'll try to do. They'll be like, kids become addicted to social media because they play video games that have compulsory behavior in it, because that guy over there is smarter than me. He said compulsory loops. And it's like, the people need to be able to decide this. Like the people need to be able to kind of like there need to be regulations within the gaming industry itself. But all in all, first and foremost, parents need to be more involved in their kids' lives and responsible for what they do. Like if you're an adult, you can do whatever the hell you want, gambling, no gambling, whatever. But with these kids, which is like the primary target of all of this stuff, and like which is why I think we get so riled up about it. It's like the parents need to be more involved. Make it to where the kids can't be part of these loot box systems, and force the industry to change its outlook on how to make money. I don't know. That's me going off on a tangent. I'm sorry. It gets frustrating that we can't really put something like that in the hands of our politicians, because most of them never picked up a gaming controller or touched a mouse and keyboard outside of their typing out their freaking blackmails.
100% agree.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It needs to be. But then again, most of us here are, we would rather things be resolved amongst people as opposed to have the government involved if they have to be, and which is a different thing in and of itself. But in the end, it just feels like that should be the route to go.
It has been a constant thing since before Columbine. It's been a constant thing. Video games are bad.
Yeah, I mean, since the very first Mortal Kombat game, that was like the first big one, and that came out like the early 90s, right?
So here's a really interesting question. And well, first, actually, before I get to this, Joe, any thoughts on the base on the face of this year?
No, I agree. There needs to be some sort of either a limitation or a change in the ratio of any sort of loot box or dumping money for a chance to get a certain thing. Like a recent example would be, say, like Genshin Impact. I'm sure you guys may have or may not. I don't know your lives, but there's a Twitch streamer that dumped $3,000 on Genshin Impact, all to try to get one character
It's
on
insane.
it, one 5-star character. Meanwhile, because the chance related, I've gotten 1 or 2 myself just off of the free rolls that they gave me, and other people are able to get ones in. So it's in my eyes, it does constitute as a form of gambling, along with the compulsory loop. You get close, or you see that you've got this chance, this really low chance, and so you see other people getting it really easily, so you want to keep trying and trying, and you need it to be able to progress in the game, or you need it for a certain reason, and it just kind of helps feed that addiction to it. It breeds a gambling addiction early on.
Yeah. So real quick, Green, have you checked on left side? Is he doing okay after that $3,000 loss?
Oof. Honestly, it probably wouldn't be left side though. It'd probably be Marcus Borkus that dropped all that cash in there.
Yeah.
Because Marcus gave him the money for that $100, and he got shit rolls from that.
Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys and their loot boxes.
So here
It's one of my
is
favorites.
Here's an interesting question that I don't think we've ever really asked. And this is from Hex the Necromancer in chat. The big problem is that this also can extend to card games also and other stuff, which I think is actually a big question. Is, you know, and I've heard people describe Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and Magic as proto loot box systems, which I mean they very much are, right? You pay $2.50 for a pack of 9 cards, 10 cards. And from there, you're not really guaranteed to get anything like super good. You're not guaranteed. Now, so, I mean, what do you guys think about card games as it relates to this? I mean, do they constitute as gambling? I mean, it's a very similar system, but go on.
So I will say this in regards to, like, at least I'm going to speak like specifically from a Pokemon standpoint. There are like guarantees in each pack. You know, while they may not be, you know, like you're guaranteed one holographic, and what is it now, like reverse holographics or something? Like I don't remember exactly what the system is now, but it's like you're guaranteed one rare, one that. So it's like there is while the actual card you get may be different in some aspect, there are things that are guaranteed within that, and that's not necessarily the case with gaming loot boxes. You know, it's like you could go and spend like on Overwatch, it's like you can go and spend the 300 coins on the loot box in Overwatch, and you could get an epic skin, or you could get a basic emote. You know, it's like there's such a wide variety, but there are guarantees within a lot of the card game realms. I know it used to be just like you're guaranteed one rare, and it's like, okay, cool. You know, like you at least you know what to some degree you're going to get. That's my thought. That's my thought on it.
Yeah. If I had to say that any loot box game, like any game that had a loot box in it, was somewhat like to that degree, it had to be Apex, because Apex is guaranteed no duplicates, and then I think it's like 1 in every 200 is guaranteed to have like the heirloom shards in it. Like once you hit your 200 packs, it's 1 in 200. So 201 is supposed to be an heirloom pack if you're dropping that much money on actual loot ticks. So still not a great system, but yeah.
And with, at least when it comes to cards, like I feel like a lot of the loot box things is they're either you need a certain thing to be able to progress or unlock a certain portion of the game for you, or like with Overwatch skins and stuff like that, and that's your only way of getting it. With the card packs, like they got some Pokemon card decks at the gas station near me that I always have to resist buying, because all I'm going to do is look at how shiny and pretty they are and then lose them. But if you can go out and take a chance buying certain decks and seeing what you get, and usually when you buy those decks, though, you'll still get some useful stuff. You can build around what you get in those decks. But if you're going for a certain specific meta and you need a certain specific card, there's plenty of places out there online to buy that certain specific card. And it could be like 16 to thousands of dollars for that specific card, but do you want to risk dropping more money to try to get that one specific card, or do you just want to go in and buy it for a slightly higher price?
Yeah, it's Overwatch does that with their loot boxes too. It's like if items are available during a specific season or whatnot, you could run the risk of or you could run the chance of getting them for the 300 coins, or most of them are like 2,000 coins or something like that. You can just go buy the skin outright. And if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, I could be wrong here, but I don't remember there actually being a deal where you go in and you buy coins in Overwatch. Like you actually just get them from leveling up or unlocking certain achievements and stuff like that. It's been a long time since I've played Overwatch, but yeah, you get a lot less in like the kind of outright gambling, because it's like there's not a lot of monetary. You don't pump money into the loot boxes. Therefore, it's just like in-game currency, which can still, in essence, going back to the term compulsory loop, in essence, could still do that. But yeah, and that's another thing. You're talking about no duplicates, and in Overwatch, you don't get duplicate items either. Like like Hex is saying, if it's going to random roll you a duplicate item, you'll get the coins instead.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
but yeah, I remember Overwatch was I remember them getting like sued, or someone tried to sue them not long after they released or something, because some kid went on there and was just dumping thousands basically. And then it started the whole wave of people were dumping a lot of money trying to get these loot boxes for the specific skins. But yeah, it comes back to kids, but I mean adults too.
Well, I
Can
mean,
have,
if you're an
those-
adult, I mean, I can't tell a fully grown adult what to do, but I sure as hell can tell my kid that they can't drop thousands of dollars in a video game.
Exactly, and that's what it comes down to, is like the difference in adults and enabling, maybe like parents enabling their children. Like you're not going to take your kids into a casino, that unless it's like in Vegas and there's like an arcade in the middle, whatever. But you're not gonna take your kids in there and let them like start pumping money into machines. It's like it's the same thing. They're like, while I hate loot boxes and I see there being like some positive possibilities in some kind of regulation. Okay, so you can buy boxes in Overwatch. Then I don't like that idea. There needs to be more personal responsibility held within the parents. Like a parent could take their kid in there, but there's a chance you can get like a high chance you're going to get thrown right out. It's like, so the parents take it upon themselves to not take their kids into casinos. Like they need to be more hands-on and get out of this like Netflix as a babysitter mentality and let your kids do whatever they want. That's where problems arise. Like these stories of kids spending thousands of their parents' money on these things and then getting pissed at the kids about it. It's like, how'd they get your card information into this system?
Yeah.
You let this happen. What the hell are you getting pissed at the kid for? Like, you don't get mad and punish the child because you're an idiot.
Yeah. You need to be there on the purchase for each purchase, especially in that situation. Don't save it too, because then they'll just be like, "Oh, the card's right here. I'll go ahead and do it." Mom said it was okay before.
Yeah, and exactly like on the Nintendo eShop. Nintendo eShop's a prime example. You have like, if you set up your parental controls on your Switch, you have to have a password to even get into the eShop. And then I think it's the same. You use the same password to secure the purchase. But like, say you were browsing the eShop on your kid's Switch and you forgot to log out and they log back in, they still have to have that password again to secure the purchase. So don't give your kids your passwords. Don't give your kids your card information. And you don't have to worry about your kids spending thousands of your dollars on loot boxes.
That's smart on Switch's part, or Nintendo's
Yeah, I like
part.
it. Trust me, as a guy who has a kid with the Switch, I'm really thankful for that.
I know if you have when it comes to like Apple, if you have like a fleet of devices and they're connected or associated with each other, like my little brother and my little sister's devices are basically connected to my stepdad and my mom's. They basically have to make a request to make a purchase for them, and
Good.
it'll show up as an alert. Okay, so anything else on this lawsuit in Canada against EA?
No, we kind of went off the rails on that.
I could have sworn I read in that thing though that it was like a 8 years progress thing, that the lawsuit's finally coming around, that they were working on it for like 8 years or something.
I think I saw since 2008 or something.
Well, so
they're
they're going
relates to games going back that far.
I mean,
Okay.
it's very possible that they have been building this case in order to file for 8 years. I don't know how Canadian law works. I barely know how American law works, but it would not surprise me if like it took them that long to be able to build a case that they could file.
As
Yeah.
is tradition.
Ah.
As is tradition.
Okay, so do we want to move on to our next topic here?
I forget
Sure.
what our next topic was.
Our next, oh, Joe, it's Halloween game suggestions. Look, this is the last show before October 31st. Let's go on ahead and let's get some spooky games to talk about. Like, what are some games, especially right now, where some people may not want to go to a Halloween party or something like that, or do some of their other usual plans for Halloween. Let's give them some suggestions that they can take this year. Some spooky games to really get themselves scared. Joe, do you have a spooky game that you want to suggest?
Just spooky horror games, single player games. So I know the newest Amnesia just released. I haven't gotten to play that yet, but just seeing a bit of it, I'm super interested in it. But a longtime friend of mine, Hannibal, also recently told me that Visage, is finally going to be finishing up and releasing Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 of their game at some point. And Visage is one of the best horror games I've ever played. Yeah, just said it in chat. Visage is amazing. It's in a great, really well done, really planned out horror game that each chapter, or at least Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, felt like there's a good progression, but they felt different from each other based on what they were based around. So I really can't wait to see what Chapter 3 and 4 are going to be like. And then also currently on the Epic Game Store, Layers of Fear 2 is free.
It's a good one.
I haven't gotten to play that yet. I need to. There's also Infliction. Infliction's a really good horror game.
That's a scary one.
And then if you want to play with friends, Phasmophobia. Not like it. If you haven't heard about Phasmophobia, I'm going to be concerned, but
yeah. Green.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're like me and you don't like horror shit because it's scary and you don't want to die of an adrenaline heart attack, I mean, you can always play Minecraft and like Animal Crossing, because those are super chill. But on like being serious, if you have friends that you want to get a group together, Deceit is free still on Steam. The developer is no longer actually doing anything with the game because they kind of folded in on themselves, but it's still a fun game to play.
So I'm real quick, I'm not exactly sure how accurate that is because they added another map. I thought I 100%. I don't know if it's like the same dev team, but
I think someone may have taken it over. Let me double check.
But yeah, we played last night and we hadn't played in what, like a year?
Yeah, it's still devs are still Automaton Games, but I think Baseline. Have you heard of Baseline?
I thought Baseline was the one that folded.
I don't know.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but they
you're
did
good.
add a new map in like the last year. A map, but
Map.
yeah. Yeah, Deceit is fun. We played with Joe Retro last night.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
And then Phasmophobia, if you have friends to play with. I haven't played it yet. I will. I'm dreading it.
It's super fun. It's really cool.
I hate jump scares. Like, that's my biggest thing.
There's
Like,
I
I
not
have
really any jump
stopped
scares.
playing. I've stopped playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the Warzone, until they take the fucking jump scares out of the box, like the boxes that you loot in Warzone. I will not. I'm done. I'm fucking done with it. I was playing a solo match in quads by myself 5 fucking times in one game. Like, I almost broke my headset. I was so pissed off. Like, because it is insanely loud. The audio is insanely loud.
Yeah.
And like it gave me a fucking headache, like a splitting headache, because it was so fucking loud. I'm like, I almost uninstalled. There's no way to like. I have everything turned down already because the game is already fucking loud as it is. So like, I almost uninstalled the game. I was so fucking pissed off. I was heated.
Those jump scares really do suck. So,
It's not so much the jump scare; it's the fucking volume.
yeah, that.
Oh, fucking.
But you don't have to worry about that in Phasmophobia. In Phasmophobia, there's a lot of build up, and it's as if you're on a ghost adventure show. You're not going to get anything that just like pops in your face and slaps your character or anything like that. It's research. Your ghost research team. Best way to summarize it without giving away too much. It's great though. DayZ also, I just realized, not fully a scary game, but zombies and stuff. DayZ's on sale right now for like 40% off on Steam. That's a game I've been pining after ever since the Armor 3 mod. And I mean, Minecraft can be a super horror game. I don't think I get more scared for my life than when I'm starting out and it's nighttime and I hear a zombie nearby with the volume turned up.
But it's chill, it's very chill.
Yeah.
Nothing is scarier than when you build your first house out of oak logs and you hear that.
Oh God.
I just made some of you guys cringe. We're like real scared. You
have
thought
a
a
clip
creeper
on
was behind you.
I have a clip
Oh,
on
my
Twitch
beautiful
where I
home.
was building my house and I didn't realize that you needed to put a floor. If you're making a big house, you need to put a floor on it or they'll spawn in your house. Or if you don't light it up properly. So I'm like, oh, I'm in my chest, I'm doing the shit, and then dead.
Yeah.
I was so confused. Like Minecraft is horrible.
Rev, some of your game suggestions.
All right, so for me, I just found out actually while we were doing this podcast that Chapter 3 of My Beautiful Paper Smile released today, which I've covered on the show before. Huge fan of it. There are 2 more chapters coming, but you once you buy the game, they're all included after that. It's like an actual looks like you're playing as a paper character, but it somehow is supremely unsettling. So that one's a good one. If I could recommend one major one, it would be that. There was also the Dread X Collection 3 just dropped, which is it's kind of a horror themed type thing, but there are some games in it that are pretty funny. Like there's Spookware, which is like WarioWare, but it's like got skeletons and stuff in it and like horror themes, but it's still super funny. And then another one that people are kind of sleeping on is the new DLC for Left 4 Dead 2 that dropped.
Oh yeah.
That's one that I think should be probably talked about more. But aside from those 3, they pretty much covered all of them. There's a new game coming out tomorrow that I really want to check out. It's called Strobophagia, and it's like a psychological horror game at a rave. And so I want to check that one out. But those would be my suggestions just from personal experience. What I would pick.
I have one more.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Rev, please keep talking about yours.
Oh, I'm done. Those are all I had. You actually kind of covered quite a few of the ones that I was actually gonna talk about, but
it's because we both have good taste.
We do. We have great taste in horror.
A phenomenal horror game is Song of Horror on Steam. I don't know when they finally released all their parts of it, but it is fantastic storytelling. I've only gotten to play chapter 1, but I am fully invested and to try to get the rest of the chapters too as well. But Song of Horror is amazing. It has a I wouldn't say isometric view, but more of like a like the old Resident Evil PlayStation 1 games where the camera's kind of locked to one place, and then as you make progress and everything, it'll move to a different part, and the camera kind of rotates with you. But it's not in a I can't see anything type of way. It covers. If you get to a place where you need to look at the wall, it'll shift to where you'll look at the wall. And it's really good in the variety of playthroughs. I had one time where I played through and I was going through the lower floor and I went to go up the basement and everything was fine. Let me walk or go up to the second floor. And then another time I went to play through and I went to go up to the second floor, and as the camera shifted to let my character, go up to the second floor, there was a ghost behind me shutting a door. And so it just popped up there. It didn't happen ever again in any other playthroughs I did as well. And so really good variety on playthrough and kept me on my toes a lot. So yeah, Song of Horror, really, really, really good.
Nice.
I do need to amend mine. I just found out that I don't know how many of y'all played the Dark Pictures anthology. What is it, Man of Medan? But part 2, Little Hope, actually comes out on the 29th. So Thursday, the next part of the Dark Pictures anthology series will come out, and I know the first one was hugely popular. A lot of people really enjoyed it. So part 2 is coming out. It looks like it's got zombie children type stuff in it, so it'll probably be pretty disturbing.
Gotcha.
Nice.
So my first one is a game we've actually talked about. It's actually a demo that we've talked about here on the show, and that is Locked Up. That is free on Steam. You should check that demo out. It is a good short little romp. Green is vigorously shaking his head.
Fuck that game.
Where's the YouTube video, Green?
It's in my highlights on Twitch. I'm too afraid to fucking open it. I don't need reminded of that demo.
I didn't know the full game came out.
Oh, did the full game come out?
It says you could buy, you could buy Locked Up for $12.99. Is it the one from Amica Games?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. The full game is out on Steam right now for $13.
Nice.
Got my interest. I am adding to wish list.
Fuck that game. Fuck it.
I'm instantly interested in any horror game that makes a person go, fuck that game.
To be fair, I do not like horror games at all. To be fair, I do not like the horror. I'm not. It's not my thing. So like, yeah, I almost profusely like lost my stomach during that game as well.
Ooh.
But not
it was fun to
because of
watch.
horror, because like there's a part where there's like, I don't want to spoil it, but like, there's a part, then there's like, oh, gross.
Oh.
Like
Yeah.
It made his anus leak.
It did a little bit.
I would also recommend trying out the Gloomwood demo right now. Not as like horrifying, but it's, it's atmospheric, it's spooky. I also suggest, this is just like a blanket statement or a blanket suggestion, go to the top free games of itch.io, and right now basically every single one of them, as always, is horror. So you can find a variety of different 3D horror games and 2D horror games on itch.io for free. Usually they run on nothing but potatoes, so you can check them out right there and have some fun for real cheap. I'm looking at some of these. I'm like, I kind of want to like go through some of these at some point. I'm gonna have to like claim some of the, or get some of these. You okay there, Joe? You're pointing to the ceiling.
Yeah. Green's just kind of staring, so trying
Oh.
to get him to wake up.
I'm over here watching them like voyeuristically, just like.
So yeah, any other games you guys suggest, or like just in general, anything that you guys suggest for this Halloween, since people probably can't really go out and do any partying? Any movies you guys want to suggest for Halloween? Any other activities?
I've watched a few like kind of newer horror movies. None of them really were that good in my opinion, though. Like I watched, and it was disappointing. I watched Clive Barker's Books of Blood on Hulu, because I used to be a big fan of the Clive Barker Books of Blood, but it was not really anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like an anthology type movie, and it was okay for what it was, but I was like expecting so much more with it being like with having Clive Barker's name attached to it. So I was kind of let down by that. But horror movies just aren't really. Well, movies in general right now aren't really coming out of the woodworks because of everything. But yeah, it's just hard. Like I'm a huge fan of Rob Zombie's 31. I mean, it's not really scary. It's more of like a gore fest. But if you like clowns and fast-paced gore porn, then that would be a good one.
Yeah, I watched his House of
a
1,000. Go ahead.
Halloween Eve. The Mandalorian is back for season 2.
There you go. That's a good one.
Fans.
That's a good one. I'm with it.
I watched Rob Zombie's House of 1,000 Corpses, and that's thoroughly entertaining as well.
I liked it. Yeah. So I'll give you a little brief rundown of how in my personal opinion on like what Rob Zombie has done as a director. House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and the first Halloween remake were good in my opinion. After that, he did a movie called Lords of Salem. Did not like it. Did not like Halloween 2. There's another movie he did called The Haunted World of El Super Beasto. Super funny though. It's like a cartoon. Has some of the characters from the House of a Thousand Corpses in it. Haven't seen 3 from Hell yet, which is the third in the House of a Thousand Corpses trilogy. But I did thoroughly enjoy 31 just because it's so fast paced. It's not trying to pretend like it's something, fun or not trying to pretend like it's something deep and whatever. No, it's a fast paced, just like let's kill people kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. I watch it every year.
Yeah, real quick. In the chat, the Game Warden says Layers of Fear 2 is free on Epic this week, and the Blair Witch Project is free next week.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that.
Yeah.
I've had my eyes on Blair Witch Project for a while now.
Yeah.
Blair Witch was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay.
Did it have any decent like creep or scares, or was it just like every now and then you got a thing chasing you and then you just collect stuff?
There's more of that than I would have liked, but there's the ending was a letdown. But if you can get past the ending, it's got some decent jump scares and stuff in it though.
I agree with you on Books of Blood. I was expecting so much more out of it, and I was generally bored during the whole thing.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Watch that. That's a good one. Classic.
The movie I watched recently was Blood Diner. It's 2 cannibalistic brothers who are told by their uncle to kill people in order to resurrect an ancient death god, and it's one of those really shitty movies from the 80s that's just like an excuse to like get women topless, and it's fantastic.
Why does
Nice.
this sound like a multiverse Boondock Saints?
I was going to say it kind of sounded like what Bob's Burgers was originally supposed to be to me. Because Bob's Burgers originally the family was supposed to be a bunch of cannibals.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have liked that.
Yeah, they decided to go a different direction.
Okay. Anything else that we wanted to talk about here in the main meat of the show?
In the main meat? No, you saying main meat got me moist as a towelette though.
Yeah, see, there we go. Let's keep going on that.
Okay, well, let's wrap up the show. Let's go ahead and wrap up the show. But first, I wanted to make a quick announcement. There will be no episode of Next to Nothing next week. The show falls on a Tuesday, as it always does. Next Tuesday in the United States of America is Election Day. We do not want to be a distraction from the election for anybody. We want to make sure that there is no excuse on our behalf for anyone to not go out and vote. We also don't want anyone to miss out on the news in watching for the election results if we're going to get them this on the first night or whatever else. So out of respect for you guys and what we believe is far more important, no show next week. Make sure you guys are, if you can still register to vote, I know because it's a state-by-state thing, make sure you're registered to vote, make plans to vote early if you can, and make sure that you do vote. We believe 100% that it is your responsibility as an American citizen, if you are eligible to vote, to go do so. And we want to do our best to ensure that happens. So
absolutely. Also, if I can piggyback off that for a second, make sure you educate yourself on your state and local candidates, because you do not want to go into those elections with this idea of I'm going to vote straight blue or I'm going to vote straight red, because just because they share a party affiliation with you does not necessarily mean that they share ideological similarities. You could be voting for somebody that is an extreme person on that side, and the only reason they're even on the ballot is because there was just nobody running against them in the primaries, and you don't want to end up voting for something like that. So make sure you educate yourself on your state and local electorates. You can find all of that information online. You just got to type in go to Ballotpedia, type in your town. It'll bring up who's running in your area, what they stand for. You can find their Twitter pages and go actually kind of familiarize yourself. You've got a week. Make sure you do have that down. It's more than just Biden and Trump. You have got to make sure you know what you're voting on a state and local level, because that actually does way more than what that president can ever do.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much more than just, oh, we got these two people.
Yeah. And I mean, other than just like the local senators and stuff like that, I mean, you have judge recalls and sheriffs and prosecutors. Those people, up and down the ballot in every corner, especially very locally, those people will affect your daily life more than the person that's in the White House or the person you send to Congress. Those are the people who enforce the laws. They're the ones who, in some of these, it's issues of zoning and issues of school taxes and school funding, and
They're the ones that decide where your like sales tax dollars go.
yeah. So make sure, that is a really good point. A lot of people don't educate themselves on the local information. And it's, we don't think about it as often as we probably should, but your local elections affect your day-to-day life more than your federal ones. They're just as important. So make sure you do have a plan for that as well. Green, you have anything you want to say?
Also, make sure you participate in the Congress and Senate races as well, because that is always a heated thing, because Congress and Senate are what essentially passes laws on the federal level. So just make sure you know who you're voting for, what they stand for, and be aware that it's basically a two-party system, which sucks. So where's the balance of that at? Like Congress is majority Democrat and Senate is majority Republican. So it's a balancing act right now. So it's right now is more important than ever.
Joe, anything you want to add?
No, basically that was said earlier. What Rose said was what Jimmy Indy said a bit ago was perfect. Be sure to actually educate yourself, research. I'm only recently learning about the. It's more than just the two sides that you've got, all the way down to the police basically that you could vote on and who's
Yeah.
running what. And
Like
so,
we elect our sheriffs here, I mean, like that's another thing, like sheriffs and again, like your mayors, your city council people. I mean, I pay here in my little crappy small town, we pay 11% sales tax, which is stupid. And nobody everybody just lets it go because they're just going to vote for this guy because he's a Republican, because it's a small Oklahoma town. And that really needs to be changed. Do keep and also do not disregard independents, libertarians, Green Party. Study them too. If they're on your ballot, study them. See, because one thing that you will come to find is third parties actually do well in down ballot voting. Like in city council and even on like a state level, not necessarily your U.S. Senate, but like your state Senate and your state reps. You can see you'll see third party people in those positions because people agree with what they have, and so definitely do that. Like definitely look at what you have available to you in all aspects aside from red and blue.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why there's no show next week. Like I said, make sure you register to vote, make plans to go vote, and make sure you stay educated on next Tuesday night. Joe Retro, thank you for coming on the show. For anyone that missed you at the top of the show, who are you? Where can people find you? And what are they going to find when they get there?
My name is Joe. I'm in Eliza's words, the handsome Weasley. You can find me at twitch.tv/Joe Retro or some form of Joe Retro across all the social medias. Typically find me playing a variety of games, whether it's Dead by Daylight, Warzone, some sort of classic PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 game, or lots of things, because I can't make up my mind. Yeah, that's basically me. I hope everyone has a wonderful Halloween.
Excellent. Guys, go check him out. Link will be in the description of the episode if you're on YouTube and or listening on Spotify. Mr. Green Elite, tell the kind folks what's coming up on your channel.
I don't know. I'm probably going to be playing some Destiny.
Ooh,
I'm probably going to be playing some Call of Duty Warzone.
nice.
Probably going to play Apex too. I'm not sure. I'm kind of open right now. I don't really have any goals. So, but twitch.tv/Mr. Green Elite, or you can find me on all my socials at Mr. Green Elite, except for Instagram, which is TTV Mr. Green Elite, because I don't like to talk about it. So, yeah, that's it.
Excellent. Padre.
There's a fly in here that will not leave me
Daddy.
alone.
You're like Mike Pence over there. Padre, what's coming up on your channel?
Oh, buddy. So Thursday, I'm doing my first ever subathon. I decided that life is about to get a little crazy because there's going to be a move coming. My wife is going back to work with a weird schedule. Things are going to be crazy. So I was like, you know what? No time like the present to do a subathon if I've never done one before. So Thursday at noon Central, I'm going to start my subathon. It's going to start out as a 5-hour stream, and then you can go upwards of 24. Got a lot of games lined out. You know, I'm going to start with the DreadX Collection 3. I need to finish DreadX Collection 3. If I can get that done quick enough, I will probably bounce over to My Beautiful Paper Smile. But then once we start hitting certain benchmarks, we're going to do Among Us and Dead by Daylight as a survivor, because it's something I've literally never done. And then up to the possibility of even going full on to early Zebo's Funhouse, because Zebo's Funhouse is supposed to be on Saturday for Halloween. There's going to be a new aesthetic coming. The guys here have seen it. I'm going to be changing up, not doing just face paint for the clown, but doing an actual mask plus face paint combination, just because it makes it easier to clean up. Takes a lot of the cleanup afterwards and the energy out, so that way I don't have to worry about it, and I could do Zebo more often. Aside from that, I don't know yet. Still trying to figure that out. We're gonna have to wait and see what my wife's schedule is once she gets started and at work and everything. So I'm probably gonna have to start doing more daytime streams. So if you work, come find me at twitch.tv/RevSpin, or you can find me literally on any social media platform at RevSpin TV, that whether it be TikTok, OnlyFans, Instagram, Twitter. The only one you will not find me on is Facebook, because fuck Facebook. Boom.
Before we go forward, did you just say you've never played a survivor in Dead by Daylight?
Never have played Survivor. I've always been
Never.
Killer, because I've always played as Zebo.
All right. So I'm doing Dead by Daylight for the rest of this week and possibly all of next week before switching over to Genshin Impact. I think going to Godfall when it comes out. You're gonna run around as a survivor with me though, and we're gonna touch killer cheeks though.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely use a companion to help me in this, because I've literally never done it.
I love being a survivor and just juking out the killers.
Boom.
It's so much fun. So,
Excellent.
Danny, what are you doing?
I'm not quite sure what I'm doing this week.
He's gonna go fucking votes. Oh, sorry.
So my birthday is Saturday. I'm out of town starting Friday. Work is hell right now because, for those who don't know, I have to schedule commercials for a radio station, and you can guess what kind of commercials that I'm dealing with right now. So it takes a lot out of me, like every day. It's a pain in the ass. So we'll see. We'll see if I stream the rest of this week. I might do something. I'm not quite sure. Other than that, you guys can find me on Twitter at DaniCae, DANIECAE, and Instagram. There was one thing that we were going to talk about, but I think we're going to push it off for about 2 weeks. Just like how it's been pushed off for.
We saved it for the end. We're gonna announce it now.
We're
gonna announce it now.
We're gonna announce it now. We're gonna.
No, we're not delaying it. Here at Next to Nothing Podcast, we do not delay things.
We don't delay things like CD Projekt Red does.
Yeah, we don't delay things like CD Projekt Red. Guys, Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed to December 10th.
Oh God!
After originally being delayed to November 17th, I almost asked for November 17th off of work last week.
A lot of people have.
I know. I have to change it to December 10th. I told her the 17th. I just haven't filled out the form for it yet.
Nice.
So I'm actually super happy about this, though.
I think the 10th is a Tuesday, isn't it?
I'm not sure. So yeah, guys, go check me out on Twitter, on Instagram at DaniCae, DANIECAE. That's going to do it for this week's show. Guys, we appreciate you for joining us and hanging out and talking with us. If you guys like what we do, then you guys can help support us by liking and subscribing on YouTube, and also dropping a comment. If you guys missed any part of the show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. Don't forget to answer this week's question of the week in the comments on YouTube. That is, what are some of your game suggestions for this Halloween? Leave that comment down below, or you guys can always tweet at us. Our handles are in the description of the episode. Other than that, guys, anything else that we wanted to mention? Anything else we needed to go over?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, guys, have a great rest of your week. Go vote and keep fighting the good fight. Goodbye.
Kisses.